Hey, everybody. This is going to be a fun one today. We're going to go over Luna, which has caused a fall so drastic. This is on CNBC, like it's on all the major financial networks. And it's important for me to talk about as someone who invests in crypto and try to educate as many people to get them on board as possible. Because there's going to come a point when on the financial news that you follow, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, CNBC, where there's going to be more time talking about crypto tech companies than will be spoken about regular tech companies. And that time's coming. And I hope when I explain what's going on and you see what's going on, that you realize the sooner you get on this train, the better. Because when mainstream is talking about Terra Luna, which I invested in at like $3 a coin, made some profit, but we'll go into that. More than they're talking about the regular stocks, that means you're entering into a world that is more relevant, has more cash, has more at stake. And it's a little crazy and it's a little interesting. I always said I wanted people to make more videos or movies about cryptocurrency because it's so rich, like with the miners and the double dealing and the business and the backstabbing. But you don't even need it. Like it's real life. So every 3 months there's something else. And I just think it's really interesting. So I'm going to talk to you guys about Terra Luna, what happened. I'm gonna tell you what my personal involvement with Terra Luna and where I am situating myself and where I'm placing myself, and with these possible recovery plans, where that will leave me, my ideas and thoughts on it, what some of the current proposals are, and my opinions on some of those proposals. Because at the end of the day, I mean, there's a lot out there and they're discussing right now what's going to happen. We're going to go into what the Binance CEO said about it. Is BlackRock responsible? They all denied it, but the loan that caused the crash and the extreme sell-off, which was market manipulation, which we're going to go into, came from Gemini. So they're like, oh, we didn't do it, but we can read the data and the transcript. So I'm going to take you on this tale of Terra Luna. So for those who are just new to me, my name is Lisa Phillips. For the last 10 years, I've taught real estate investing in rental properties. I teach Black professionals, and actually now it's a little diverse, all over the country, how to invest in long distance or locally in low cost properties that cost anywhere from $30,000 to $60,000 in low cost neighborhoods, working class neighborhoods, sometimes lower income neighborhoods. I have a best-selling book, Investing in Rental Properties for Beginners. It's been my bestseller for 3 years, and it has 950 ratings at 4.5 stars, which is actually really good because if you look at all the top 100 books, it is right competitive with it, which I'm really proud of. That, like, for me, having an audience of Black professionals that were that relevant, we're really showing that we're really trying to change generational wealth, at least the people that I attract. But I also have 2 more books, Crypto Alchemy. We're actually going to talk about crypto alchemy and which cryptocurrency should I buy, where I go into non-technical ways of determining how to make an easy shot, but also just crypto in general. So I couldn't leave this alone. I have been glued to my camera, I like my laptop, just seeing what's going on. It changes every single second. And this is gonna be crazy. So come along for the ride. So we're gonna go into what happened, who's rumored to be involved. Kwon, apparently the most arrogant CEO in the history, who has been brought down a peg or two by this. And some people think that might have been on purpose. Into what's going on now. The CEO of Binance, how he snapped. He sort of put the smackdown on Do Kwon on telling him how he was disappointed in how it was being handled, and where it's going to go and what this means for cryptocurrency in general. Like I said, when cryptocurrency is on the mainstream channels, blocking out traditional stocks, traditional commodities, traditional CEOs, you need to understand where we're going. Cryptocurrency is like Netflix to Blockbuster. Remember Blockbuster? Netflix? I know Netflix is a little shaky, but there's no more Blockbusters left, right? So cash and cryptocurrency is the same. And the sooner you take the time to understand it, which if you educate yourself, it's actually not that, I don't know. It's not that hard for me, but it's not that hard for people who follow me. It's not that hard if you go to the right source. The sooner you get on this, the sooner you can make these really big returns. Because at the end of the day, I looked in my portfolio and I saw I had $7,800 from $100, from $100 purchase a year and a half ago. So I tell you guys, you just need to give it 18 months to 2 years to 4 years, because technology moves in a year and a half to 4 year cycle for technology that has been so consistently made for it to go through. But $100 literally makes you $7,000, $8,000. And you guys have seen this, because if you've taken any of my training programs or my crypto, or you saw any of my replays for my cryptocurrency stock, I show you my portfolio. You see 16,000 here, 8,000 here, 10,000 there, and all for relatively small purchases. But when you know how to read this, and as a business owner and a real estate investor, you apply the same principles, it's very easy to call, because you can recognize where the work's being done and whatnot. But what I'm saying is that you just have to give it that 18 month to 2 year time span, and then you'll be okay. It's only the people who really lose it who try to get rich quick or get greedy. But I don't care what you're in. I don't care if you're in stocks or at the casino. Discipline is always going to be your friend. The lack of discipline is going to consistently sink you, right? It doesn't. And if cryptocurrency, it's even crazier. So, just going with the discipline, a mindset, a paradigm, and stick to it, you won't be hurt. Because at the end of the day, yeah, my portfolio went to 8,000. I took about 2,000 and bought some miners with it, because I'm starting up a crypto mining farm, and I've already got so I'm just slowly adding them one by one. And because I love passive income, hey, you have to get to deduct the electricity costs. Whoa, that's really cool too. So I took some profit, but the rest fell to zero. However, that doesn't mean that I hate Luna right now, right? It was $100 initial purchase. I got about 2,000 out in the profit. And now they have a rescue plan where I would be a part of it as a holder long term. So like I said, there's a lot. So let me go into it. You guys sit back. I'm smiling just because it's very dramatic. They even tried to break in the CEO's house today. So, well, they didn't. Just investors are starting to show up at his home. So when I say this is crazy, this is crazy. So sit back. There's no drama that needs to be written in the crypto world. If you're paying attention, it has literally its own video series, dramatic dramedies, like every 3 months. But it's not that funny. Some people did lose, and we're going to go into the lessons learned of what they could have done differently and should have done differently. So before we start, can you guys send me some comments? Let me know how you're thinking about it. Have you heard about it? Whatnot. And once I see a few comments to see that you guys are here and engaged, I will continue on and go through. It literally is a saga at this point, and it's not over. So I'm going to come back once they implement a plan to see where it's at. Because I literally, after it crashed, I purchased at 0.00006, and I have 740,000 Luna tokens. I made $40, but it's 6x, and now it's like $240. And we're going to go into what I'm going to do with that. So I could cash out I 6x my $40 bet when I bought at 0.0005. Now I have 740,000 Luna tokens. So if it ever gets to 0.1 cents, that's $70,000, right? But we're not going to go into that. I'm here from Austin, Texas. Thanks for the info, Lisa. Okay, great. You guys are here. Good. So let's start, and we're going to go over this. All right, I'm going to share my screen. If you have questions, go ahead and leave them. I think I'll click back and forth so I can see them when they go. So what happened? Girl, I know I'm trying not to smile, but I'm not going to lie. I like a juicy drama, and I like a good gossipy story. So I'm not laughing. It's not funny, but it's just oh my God, this is so crazy. Wait until you guys see this. It's very dramatic. All right. So before we start, what happened? So a stable coin. We love stable coin. A stable coin is a coin that is pegged to a certain currency to always stay at that level. So if it's pegged to the dollar, it's always $1. So if you buy $5,000 worth of, say, USDC or USDT, USD and then tether, USD and then C, which is circle, USDC, USDT, then it's always $1. So for instance, say you have $7,800 that you have in profit from something, and it went that way in 2 months. Well, you want to take some of that money and keep it in crypto. You don't want to convert it into cash, but you just have it and you just want to convert it to crypto because you might want to use it again. But while it's converted to crypto, you want it to remain stable. So say you had $7,800 profit, you want to take 4,000 of it and put it in a stable coin. Well, the stable coin theoretically is supposed to always be tied to $1. how most stable coins work is that they are tied to actual assets. So a company will say, and it's in their interest for everyone to use their stable coin because then it's more valuable, because then people want it more, then they can mint more, then they can hold more in their thing. So what most stable coins do is they'll have a reserve of money, and okay, as the value of whatever assets they're backing it falls, they will buy more to compensate, so it's always at $1. So they will sell. So if some of their assets really rise, but it makes the value of the stable coin will go more than $1, they will sell off those assets to keep it even. And so some of the major coins have been audited. I know USDT has been audited, and they are a mix of dollars, Bitcoin, and other stable currencies in that mess, but it was audited. And I think USDC, which is Circle, and Circle is affiliated with Coinbase, one of the major exchanges, that has also been audited. So there are certain stable coins that me, as someone who's been here a long time, I will recommend. Of course, everything at this stage, anything could happen, anything could go under. However, there are levels to this, and this level for me is more stable than this, as long as it's been audited and it's very clear, right? However, those are centralized. Coinbase, Gemini Dollar, yes, audited. Yes, they have the backing. Yes, a physical asset, but it is centralized, okay? And that is where Luna comes in. I purchased Luna about 18 months ago because they had 50,000 people using it. It was supposed to be a payment system in Korea. They already had 50,000 people using it. It was like a PayPal, but it was on the blockchain. Really good. People loved it. And I was like, okay, no brainer, right? Like everyone's already using this thing. So I bought it, and I bought like however many for $100, right? Just because I was like, technology is good. I'm good. So, I already believed in it because it showed a use case. And sometimes with crypto, it can be very much in the internet, but things where people are actually using and making money from and liking and disliking, and it's introducing crypto into the world, I'm always going to bet heavily on those. And I suggest you do it too, because it's in bridging the gap between the internet and the real world, in which crypto is going to make the most impact, but also those are going to be the most infrastructure and groundbreaking technology. So just keep an eye out on those. Just try, yeah. Well, listen, as long as you can lose it, I did too, because we're actually part of the rescue plan. Anyone who buys, and I'm not, what is it? I'm not a certified professional financial advisor, because that's a very technical term for people who like sell mutuals and stuff, right? So I'm not that. This is just my experience. Just like I've been a real estate investor, I have my experience that I'm going to talk to. Am I telling you now to go out and buy it? No. Am I telling you I did buy it? Yes. So am I telling you to? No, but I will explain why I bought it, what I'm thinking behind it. And people like us who are buying after the crash are a part of it still being relevant. So I am what we call a lunatic. All right. I like Luna. I've liked it for 18 months, and I still like it today, even after the crash, because what the goals are, right? And so, yeah, I got to tell that disclaimer. Listen, anything could fall. I have money on Coinbase. Coinbase can go up tomorrow, and they just said if they went bankrupt, my money's their money. Now, that's not different than the banks, because the banks just passed a bill 2 years ago saying any money that you deposit can be used if they need to as collateral. So it's not even that it's much different than what the banks are doing. However, I'm just saying, as I can promote anything and it can go belly up, right? And we know this. That's why you diversify. That's why I have some of my crypto on my wallet. I have some of my crypto at home. I have some of my crypto on my soft wallet, some of my crypto on a little bit on the exchange, because sometimes I just need quick money. And I'm like, oh, well, it's in USDC. Let me just send it over here. Okay, good. So we were just talking about, so that's what a stable coin is. Some are more stable than others, and more stable just mean they're audited. There's a little bit more above board. You know what's going on. So Kwon, and I'm going to get into this character. He's crazy, very arrogant, and I'll show you that. I still believe that he can pull this through, but very arrogant. And I was going to show the pride comes right before a fall. He is actually the CEO of Luna, right? And so he wanted to make an algorithmic stable coin because he wanted the stable coins to be decentralized. USDC, Gemini, they're people who can turn a switch off, people who can run away with the money, people who can have an insider training. They are a centralized unit. The U.S. government can say, turn off all your U.S. Gemini dollars, and Gemini will comply because it's a centralized U.S. company. Or I don't even know if it's based in the U.S. I think it is. but it's a centralized company that has a point of termination that can be controlled and manipulated, right? So he wanted to make something, and he had experience in it in another stable coin, and I'll show you guys. I'll show all of you guys like the videos too. I just want to explain it before we get into the details. Yeah, usually pegged to a commodity, but algorithmically, he wanted to bring a stable coin that wasn't pegged to an actual asset. So there's not a building with money that can be audited. It was pegged algorithmically to like certain other coins, and how the coins fluctuated in price. It would just talk to the algorithm and adjust based off that, right? And so it would have assets and its reserves that it would do. I don't know that much of the details, but it was supposed to be algorithmic versus like a centralized location and place behind it. It would be fully decentralized just based on the algorithm. There's not a certain place. There's not a certain commodity or asset. It was free with the internet to do it. And I will tell you this now, the reason I'm with them is I do believe in that. I don't know if you guys been paying attention. I don't trust the government. They do not like you. The government uses you, people. They don't like me. They use me. They don't like me. You need to really understand that, because I think if people in the Black community understood that better, you would understand how to make better moves. They don't like us. They don't like us at all. They will use us for our votes and for our tax dollars, but we are a commodity. We are labor. Our young kids are commodity and labor to them, and our old people are liabilities to them. So just plan accordingly. I don't like any of it. I don't want CBDC. So having a decentralized coin is a beautiful thing if we can figure it out. But just like any software, I don't know if you guys been paying attention to software, but there's a reason there's like 10 upgrades to your Android, right? There is, because the first one goes through, you find bugs. The second one goes through, you find bugs. The third one goes through, that is software, and that is cryptocurrency. That is why there's constant updating, right? And so for me, yeah, I took a loss, but does that mean I'm not going to invest in cryptocurrency anymore? No, that is the nature of the beast. Sometimes they go forward and they have a good idea, but because it's cryptocurrency and people put actual money, unfortunately, unlike in a test round, it's when you're actually doing it and experiencing it that you find out about the bugs, but you can lose money while it's happening. A lot of us experienced investors, we know that. That's why we don't put more than we can afford to lose, because we understand that we're starting and we are supporting single-handedly. We are supporting this revolution. And sometimes there's going to be a bug that gets found out. So I love the idea. I love the concept. And this was actually his second. So I'll start sharing the screen now. I don't think so, but we'll debate that later. Okay. I don't think so. Because if it was done, it'd be done, but there's stuff on the table right now. Plus they have reserves, and we're going to talk about Kwon, because as arrogant as he is, I think that same arrogance will get him out of this 100%. I don't think he's not going to sell into the night. I don't think he's going to sell into the night. I think he'll put every single thing of what he is on the table. And that's why I'm actually going to talk about the CEO and founder, because it's important to know what the head of this ship looks like. And we'll go, but who knows at the end of the day? I put money on it. So let's go into this. I'm going to share my screen just so you guys can see. Okay, so there's actually, let me get out of this. So the actual thing that happened is that it was algorithmically placed. And so it was put in production, but no one really knew, but you don't know sometimes until you put things into actual real life production, how it can be manipulated. So what happened was there was a huge sell-off of the Luna coin. So the UST, Terra UST, was pegged to the Luna. So that was going to be its algorithm, right? To keep it at $1. So as the price of Terra Luna went up, the amount of UST would either be burned or created to keep up. However, there was a massive sell-off of Luna and UST that caused this huge imbalance, and it flipped so quickly that what happened was, in order to try to save the UST, they minted like 6.5 billion Terra coins in order for the algorithm to keep up, which completely diluted all of anyone who held it means it was worthless. It was just like super inflationary event within 2 or 3 days. Okay. So that's basically what happened. But we were looking into the why it happened. And it gets a little interesting because it's some big corporate institutions who are now being named. And let me say this before we finish. Fidelity, big $1 trillion money, just said crypto can now be purchased up to 20% for all the portfolios, retirement portfolios. Big $1 trillion players are in this game. $1 billion players are in this game. $1 million players are in this game now. You guys need to understand when something happens, you can no longer have your kid's glove on thinking it just happened. You need to understand that there are people here who want the price to go down now that they opened up and they want to own as much as possible. The Bitcoin price falling, you need to understand that that can be very deliberate sometimes. We're only at 3% adoption rate. That means $1 trillion player can move a market or sell something off so drastically that it causes a huge plunge or can demolish a coin. Now, when we go from 3% adoption down to 20%, 25%, $1 trillion player doesn't matter because there's trillions in the system and it doesn't have as much an effect. So we know that as early adopters, early supporters, but you just also need to understand, like when you see this, just understand that we're early. And because we're early, you make big gains. You can spend $100 and make 8,000 within 18 months. Happens all the time. And I've shown you this it keeps happening. I actually need to buy a new round of $100 coins. I have this $100 coin that's all of a sudden being listed everywhere. I'm like, oh, you about to shoot up. Happens all the time. You just have to give yourself time. So just understand big money's in the game. So Luna had went from like, $5 all the way to $120. People have been buying in because it's on everyone's mouth. However, it halted. And so we have Route 21, who is Twitter. You can follow him on Twitter if you want to see it. This is his Twitter feed. There are 4 factors that they because people are starting to do the work. And they're showing that, well, the people behind, there was someone who borrowed 100,000 BTC from Gemini Exchange, and they short this BTC. So they're like, the value of this is going to drop, right? So like I said, there's big money involved. 100,000 BTC. How much money is that? I think Bitcoin is at like 31. Let's just say that. $3 billion. Okay. Big money. Institutional money. Okay. Because even billionaires don't do stuff like that. That's institution when you have trillions under your asset sheet. So let's just keep that in mind. The next step, and then there was an OTC deal of $1 billion, they're speculating. The Luna Foundation Guard bought the BTC during March. This is because the Luna Foundation was buying Bitcoin as like a backup reserve system in case they needed to use it, in case the algorithm didn't work. So it's not like they did this willy-nilly. They had $3 billion worth of Bitcoin, just so if anything happened, they can utilize that in defense of this new, never before seen algorithmic stable coin. So they knew that there was risk and they did shore themselves up. So this is, I do give them credit for that. They weren't doing this empty-handed. They had a very big chest. So Curve announces a pull from 3-pool to 4-pool. Curve is a DeFi place where you can make lots of money. There were 3 pools with USDC, USDT, and DAI, which are dollar coins. And the 4th one was UST and Frax. I never heard of Frax. There was a huge sell-off on Curve. When you have a huge sell-off all of a sudden, now if you're an investor and a huge investor, and you want to sell something, you don't sell everything because you can drop the price. Everyone knows that. Even I know that. So the big guys know it too. So for someone to have a huge sell-off, millions of dollars worth, and they did it on purpose to manipulate the market. And I'm going to go into why we think this is deliberate, because he was taking bets against a lot of people being real arrogant. So there's more to the story than that. You had a withdrawal of $2 billion UST on Anchor. The peg kept moving down. LFG removes 150 UST from the 3 pool. Drained the pools. 350 million. Now Curve is out of liquidity. This is so coordinated. This results in the peg moving down. Panic starts. People start selling Luna. Luna flips the UST. And then just everything started happening. Then they started selling all the UST on Binance, and the peg just kept falling. So when we say it's a coordinated attack, so LFG, so the attackers, well, as they're calling them the attackers because this was coordinated. LFG, which is the Luna Foundation, keeps selling the BTC and buying UST to shore it up, right? So it's not that they were being idle. The BTC drops because of high sell pressure because of what they're doing. Anchor deposits dwindle because people want out, and then the cycle just continues. So very deliberate and whatnot. So I'm going to switch back and see if there's any questions. Very informative. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Let me stop the share, and then we'll keep going because there's more to go. There's more to this. It's actually getting a little juicier now. Trying to make the case for CBDC. Yes. Don't do these scary crypto things. Use our CBDCs. That we can turn off. That we can tie to your social credit score. That we can control you with. That we can wipe out at the drop of a hat. But if you scare enough people, they will take that over this. Even though if they listen to me, they would know, well, just put a little in this newer technology, because even though it's offering 18% returns, this other one offers 12%, but it's audited and it's a little bit more stable, right? Like there's a ways around this that you can mitigate all your risk, right? With knowledge and just knowing, you know what I mean? But they're going to try to scare you into this, and then they control you. Like I said, the government does not like us. They use us. If USD tether fails. Yeah, you know, that did fall for a second. It went from the dollar peg to like really low, but it went right back up because they actually have assets. So, have you heard of, I've not heard of that. Yeah. Crypto is all about if you can give it an 18-month to 2-year to 4-year time span. So the people who are patient, and we've done it so much that we're just like, this is easy at this point. You just have to be able to wait for the life cycle, the software life cycle. And any of you guys who are in corporate America, which most of my audience is, you know that there's a software life cycle. You don't just make a big implementation in 6 months. It usually takes 1.5 years. It can be multi-year for technology implementation. So, oh, okay. Is it November? Thank you. I will be firmly in crypto and mining crypto. So yes, I don't know when it's happening, but they told us about the Great Reset by 2030. You'll own nothing and you'll like it. And I'm going to tell you something right now. I am not being tied to anything that has a social credit score because I say what I want. I mean what I say. I said what I said. Y'all are not about to start judging me based on some classism I don't want to be a part on and docking me and my money because of it. Okay. Like they're doing in China. I'm not with it. So if y'all using CBDC and it's tied to that, I'm not using CBDC. So if that means I do cash and cryptocurrency purchases, that means I do cash and cryptocurrency. Trust me, there'll be other people who are just like me who are not going to be a part of that system. Cyber guy here. Oh, okay. Who's cyber guy? Oh, thank you, Tyra. New monetary standard. Oh, thank you. Man, I mean, they're being very obvious, but I digress. All right. So I just want to see any questions. Let's keep going about this coordinated attack. I was looking into all the sequence of events that are on the blockchains that led up to it. So let me share my screen again. All right. So that's what happened. What happened? But, and so this is Route 2-1 if you want to find it. So he sort of shows everything of where all the money came from and the balances and whatnot. Now, they're saying that the people who did this was BlackRock, Gemini, Citadel, Circle was all involved in it. Now, BlackRock is evil. BlackRock is buying all these houses. BlackRock received quantitative easing. BlackRock is part of the 20 reset. They're buying all these houses. This is why there's not going to be a crash and it's super inflated because they're paying cash over regular home buyers. They're doing this with the government's consent. They got all the quantitative easing. At first, they were buying stock buybacks, but now they're using that money to purchase real estate from you. They want to be the largest owner of real estate in this freaking country, or at least residential. Since they work hand in hand with the government, if the government says do this, they will be the implementers of it. And if you're renting properties from them, okay, they can tell you what to do because they're the largest person. So I tell people as real estate investors, when we own property for long-term stable housing, we're literally like the last line of defense between these evil corporations. I said what I said. It's evil. There is nothing they are doing that is for our highest good, okay? It is for theirs and for to control us. and they're getting all the money from the government to do it. Okay. So I don't care. BlackRock and Citadel, every single one of them deny it. Of course they're going to deny it. So I will read that they all deny it. Gemini said they didn't make a loan. BlackRock said they don't deal in UST. Okay. So did Circle. But I want you guys to know, just because their spokesperson said it doesn't mean that that's not true. So yes, I hear that they're saying publicly they were not involved. I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying I want you guys to have a healthy cynicism when it comes to big corporations about their environment. And just because they have person says that, oh, I didn't do it, that doesn't mean you need to believe that. Okay. I'm just putting it out there. So let's just keep going. So people are pointing to this, although I don't know why the rumor started. The only reason I can think of rumor started is because of the over-the-counter purchases. That's really direct to persons. Like you're paying like a mining company the money and they get back. And if you pay the mining company, one of the miners knows who they were doing business with, looked it up and was like, oh, we were doing business with X when we sold all this money to them. So that's how a rumor can get started. It's just someone who was actually involved in the trade can like let it out. And the internet is so interconnected, you can make a tweet and it could go viral. You know what I mean? So rumors are rumors. So we don't know that they're fact-based, but I'm just saying how it can conceivably. So, you know, when you do OTC, that means you did it directly with someone to get it, right? Within the company. And you didn't go through an exchange. You called somebody up. When you call somebody up, you are somebody, and I can look and research you and see who you're affiliated with. So that's just where rumors like this can come from. Now, Kwon. Let me show you the CEO, Kwon. This boy. I like his product. I didn't know he was just such a D-bag. And actually, like, I mean, just a mess. Let me see if I can find his picture. So that's Kwon, co-founder, Terraform Labs. Now this kid, okay, this kid. Oh my God, the arrogance. So some are curious if some of the attacks come because of how aggressive this kid has been and making fun of people, calling people poor, not listening to any critics, being young and dumb, okay? Smart, hardworking, ambitious, willing to put in the long hours, but annoying. It's just like the guy. It was like his name was Michael Schlevik. It was like the dude who bought like a pill for like insulin or diabetes. He took it and then flipped it and made it like 1,000 times more expensive, from like $85 to $850 just because he could. And then when they confronted him about it, he was just like, I don't care. Right. And then, you know, he eventually went to jail, not on that charge, but he was so hated that some of that hate can translate into someone else hating for something else that will eventually get you there. Does that make sense? Whereas if he wasn't that much of a dick, he'd probably still be out. But we have that much hate, people are going to find a reason to go after you. And I honestly feel like Kwon did this. So, and I hope it's worth it. So who is Kwon? So co-founder, has made millions in the crypto space. And just a young guy from Korea, right? But he's doing his deal, and he is someone I think that we shouldn't discount. Very Trump-esque. And as much as you guys hate Trump, you got to understand people love Trump too, right? But very arrogant. The arrogance, even for people who liked him, was like, dang, can you calm this shit down a little bit? So here's Kwon calling, and I'm finding out about this dude. Like, oh my God, how old are you? He has a history of dismissing critics by calling them poor, or I don't debate with poor people, being completely dismissive. Oh, you still poor? I don't liquidate the poor. Sorry. I don't gamble against the poor. Pretty sure he's poor, so I don't have to listen to anything he has to say. And listen, there is something to be said that if you're financially on top of things and someone is financially not on top of things, that you shouldn't take financial advice from them, but there's a level between arrogance and humility that you need to cross. He clobbered it. I don't know how, and especially what I know about like Asian culture, I don't even know how he could be this arrogant, because that's not even cool to do in that culture. Humility is everything. So I don't even know like where this throwback came, being this arrogant. Like, I know you're like ultra rich, right? A billionaire at like such a young age, and you had a good product, but man, this is, and this was also him making fun of Die Will Die. Die didn't die, you know, UST did. And he's just saying, like, it's fun to watch, some stable coins don't make it. You know what I mean? So he tweets this. Yeah. Good. Well, someone else was making fun of him. Do Kwon's grave, because he said die will die. And Dai's like, I don't know. So he was just pissing people off. So he has this whole thing where he's talking about, some of these coins are going to die. Sometimes I enjoy watching the show. It's entertaining. Well, all right, back at you, buddy. Oh, goodness. So, this is so yeah. So these are just a few more articles reiterating that. So this is the dude, and I'm reading this, and I'm just like, God dang, you're such a numbnut. But whatever. He did have experience with I'll talk about that next. He did have experience with a failed stablecoin that was also trying to be algorithmic. The colleagues say. So they're saying he tried to be anonymous with his name Rick and Morty. So they tried this before, and so he took what he learned from that to make Terra Luna, right? And honestly, if Terra Luna didn't have such a coordinated attack, I don't think it would have happened, right? So it's not that like his idea is bad. It's just real world just puts it to the test, and I think you can fix everything. Is it this part? Okay, that's the solution. Right. So he did have experience before going into this. They also have like videos of him like saying betting with billionaires. And there's literally like a $10 million bet. There is a wallet with $10 million placed in it. And there was like, who wants to make $1 million bet that Luna will be a lower price a year from now? Now, I couldn't find the article, but I had saw it earlier. There was a whole thing where people were talking to him and he's mocking billionaires to say like, mine won't die, whatever. They're like, well, you should take some advice. And he's just being really arrogant. And I remember I was looking and they were just like, the one thing you don't do is taunt a billionaire. And he had multiple billionaires on this tweet list. And he's just going back and forth like in the style of this. And you're just like, I'm just going to say it. This might have something to do with this. Billionaires don't have stuff to do. Like they don't. And they're super competitive and they have pride. And they might be like, all right, bet. So there's literally a $10 billion bet. And this guy's who's bet that it'll be lower price in 1 year than now. When is this set? March 13th. Well, he didn't have to wait a year. And so there's a whole thread. And Do Kwon, like young and I don't know where his arrogance comes from. He's like, okay, bet. I would prefer to ask whatever your net worth is and bet 90%, but maybe this is what it is already. So he's like, cool, I'm in. He put the money in the thing. So, I mean, just, who's this? We'll keep going. Who is this young and dumb, guys? So this is the founder. And when I say you don't need a movie about this stuff, like it writes itself. I don't know where this kid come from. Like, I mean, Americans can be arrogant, right? But like literally, like in real life, Trump is literally the most arrogant person I have seen in my life. But this kid tops it. Who will be that bold and brash, knowing that there's so many reasons that your company can come over? And you know it because you've been part of failed experiments, but you're still that arrogant. So I'm just going to say it. I wouldn't be surprised if some of this going back and forth and being a dick contributed to someone wanting to really take it to him. You need to be so I'm going to go back, give you an example. Back in the day, so I was reading up on like feudal England, right? Where you had the nobles and the poor people, right? The nobles comported themselves with class, not only to identify themselves, but it was their protection. Because if the poor people could know that you would react with a certain decorum and that there's certain rules, and for the most part, 98% of you will perform to those rules, even when things didn't happen that was to their favor, it still go, well, at least I know if this happens that X will happen because those are the rules. People like rules. And I see there was a reason through all this feudal, there were so many poor people and only a small minority of rich people how it was able to do it, because even though it was this balance, there were rules. And I don't know if you guys know humans, we like rules. So at least if this, then that. And so nowadays people don't really have class like that. And it's funny because you see there's just so much back and forth because no one expects you to be better. Whereas back then they did expect you to behave and comport yourself a certain way. And we're highly shocked if you didn't. And your people around you called you together if you didn't. But we don't have that anymore. So it's interesting how you have a lot more just conflict because there isn't a social hierarchy that's recognized that will put their people in check, either on the bottom or the top, depending on where you are. So I just think that's really interesting. But this guy, you know what I mean? Like, you lack a class, wrote your ass a check you can't cash. Okay, how you doing all this work? Because I don't know. STG, I don't think if he would have been this much of a dick, I don't think this would have happened. That's just my intuition telling me. It's just me as a human being looking how if you piss people off, they might not say anything that day, but quietly behind the scenes, they'll go, oh, bet. Right? Because I do that. I might not attack you immediately, but I'm like, bet. Okay. And then they'll quietly go behind the scenes and do it. So I just really think this guy, his mouth, wrote him a check his ass can't cash. So let's get on to what else is going on. So let me share my screen again. So are you guys still with me? Any questions so far as we keep going? We get to the rescue plan. Let's leave a comment so I can see. Okay, I don't see any comments, so I'll just keep going. So, woo. Okay, good. Okay, good. All right, let's keep going because it's not over. And at the end, I'm gonna tell you about my. Okay, good. Thank you, LaShawn. All right. So I truly think he just wrote a check. His ass can't cash. People have lost. Now, you should only put in what you can lose right now. I have my money spread out in diverse places. Why? Because if Coinbase went up tomorrow, if Gemini went up tomorrow, if KuCoin went up tomorrow, whatever. If this wallet failed, whatever. If it, hey, that is not all my money. Honestly, if I had to add it up, gosh, like 10 different places. And I really suggest that when you guys start, as your portfolio grows over time, so it's not going to grow in a month, but if you have it for 2, 3, 4 years, you're going to start getting those $8,000, $10,000, $11,000 blow ups, right? I would suggest you convert that and do what you can with it. But people have lost money. I'm looking at the Twitter threads and they're saying 10,000, 5,000, 65,000. Now you shouldn't have put 65,000 in any new technology. You just shouldn't. If you're going to have it in that, I would be centralized for the bigger sums until these things get worked out. But I'd have maybe 10,000 of that in it because at the time, the UST, Terra USD, they were offering 18%, whereas all the other exchanges and places and crypto savings accounts were offering 8 to 12%, right? Return on investment. So 18, 19% is pretty amazing. So people did move their money over who were comfortable. But at the end of the day, don't put more in crypto or a new project than you can afford to lose, right? So there were people, I don't know who found them already, but there was a report today that someone came to the house and they leaned on the doorbell. His wife answered and was asking about where her husband was, but he ran away. So it's getting a little crazy. I don't agree with this one. Like, there's definitely some CEOs who I feel need to be visited, but I honestly don't think it's him because this isn't the first coin that has went to zero. It's not going to be the last because the thing is with cryptocurrency, they are software life cycles and, they put themselves out and sometimes there's bugs that can be very costly. And that's just the nature of software development, right? I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying it is. Well, the CEO of Binance is the largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world. I used to love it, but then we got banned because we're from the US, which sucks. But then they made a Binance US, which I don't know. I did a Better Business Bureau complaint on them. FYI, if you want them to respond quickly, just do a Better Business Bureau complaint. Free game for the day. Takes like 4 minutes, but like they'll get back to you because they don't want that public record of your complaint not being solved. So they try to solve it and close it as soon as possible. And as long as you lay it out, everyone can read it. They don't want those things open showing that they're not working. So FYI. So Binance halted trading, and this is what he had to say. So CZ, if you're in the crypto world, CZ is a very respected man. I know from everything I see, I highly respect him. He is working so hard. I think the story is that, he, just like us when we're in high school, worked fast food, right? But, it doesn't matter. It's just a means to an end. I just have a high level of respect for him. I have a high level of respect for Binance. I bought like 90 Binance token, then it went up to $600. That was a real big part of my portfolio. So love it. I think it's now back at 386 and climbing up. So high point of 600. I think it's going to, it's definitely going to beat its all-time high on the next crypto cycle, definitely, because it's just such a useful tool. So I love CZ and Binance. So he says, I'm very disappointed with how the UST Luna incident was handled or not handled by the Terra team. We requested their team to restore the network and burn the extra minted Luna. Remember, I told you earlier, in order to save that algorithmic peg, they made like $6.5 billion Luna, and they minted that into production, which was trying to say UST, but then you make your Luna value worthless, right? Because it's just too many. It has no worth or value. And to recover the UST peg. So far, we have not gotten any positive response or much response at all. Woo! You honestly don't want to piss CZ off. When he talks, everyone listens. This is not the man to show that you are derelict to. It just isn't. So I'm reading this because I'm just like, he is taking multiple beatings right now, okay? This is a sharp contrast to Axie Infinity, where the team took accountability, had a plan, and were communicating with us proactively. Now, if this is ever a note to buy Axie Infinity, which I'm going to tonight, this is it, okay? This is it. I was going to buy it anyways because it's a gaming NFT platform that's really growing, and it's really stable, and they have a big user base, and they're just coming up with really cool ideas that get people to involve and invest in it. So I was going to buy Axie Infinity, free game, go get it. I just haven't made the time to do it. But I think, let me see the coin market cap. So we always go to coin market cap when you want to find out the price and information. Coin market cap is actually owned by Binance, but still credible at this moment. Axie. It's $21, whatever. I'm buying it. And if you want to find out where to buy it, you go to the market here, because I know some of you guys are new and then some of you guys are not. And these are the places you can buy Axie. Okay, I'm gonna buy it off of Kraken, where I have my 401k account. Anyways, so CZ goes, this is a sharp contrast to Axie Infinity. Buy Axie Infinity now, please, even if it's just like $100. But that would be like my DCA right now, Axie Infinity. But you can do the research yourself. My book, Which Cryptocurrency Should I Buy, goes over how you analyze this, not just by someone's word of mouth, but how you actually look at the data to do the analysis, just like how I show you how to invest in rental properties. It's very detailed, very strategic. We know there are different opinions in the community. We felt suspending trade is the best way to protect our users at this time. FYI, they did open it back up. We will continue to monitor the situation closely. Woo! Woo! Okay, so he just got his ass spanked by CZ because I didn't read the first part. We made this decision to suspend Luna and UST. They did start it over. The exponential amount were minted. Some of our users were unaware of the large amounts newly minted Luna, right? And started buying again without understanding that as soon as deposits were allowed, the price will likely crash. And so they try to be neutral, but they said, no, we stepped in because of this. Okay. All right. So where are we now? So eventually CZ actually wrote that, they did start it open. They did get into, it's amazing what a tweet can do. Because after this tweet, homeboys at the foundation got in touch with them. Okay. You don't piss off the largest exchange in the whole freaking world. Don't piss off the CEO of the largest exchange. You don't want this man knowing you by first name basis because you done messed up and pulled him out of his femininity. He was resting firmly in his femininity until they did this. Okay. That is, you don't want to be that person, Kwon. So this is such a, for this kid. I mean, karma, I don't know if you guys been paying attention just spiritually, but karma's been coming quick for people. I mean, quick. I mean, within 2 months. So, oh goodness. So this is the plan. So I'm just going to go into a little bit my experience with Terra Luna. And Oh, why did they ban us? Man, Binance was I mean, we have other places that we go, but Binance was so cool. I loved it. All right. So I'm a lunatic. That's what they call us. I believe in this project. I believe in the founder. I like the technology. I like what they're trying to do. I like the vision. I'm a visionary. Some of us are visionaries. A lot of you who follow me are visionaries. Your family members aren't necessarily visionaries, okay? So I always tell people you need to understand when you have that knighted place, when you can see what others can't see, understand you were given that for a reason so you can do what others cannot see or are fearful to do. Show them that it's possible, thus inspiring them to go to the higher levels. That's how the evolution of spirituality works. You do it, you inspire others, and then they do it, inspire others, right? So we're visionary, right? I am visionary. I can see in the future and be like, yeah, like clearly, duh, this is going to be, it just is what it is, right? And some of us just have that talent and we follow it. You know what I mean? So so because of that, I believe in what he's trying to do. I believe in his skill set. I appreciate that he made this huge billion-dollar cryptocurrency that did, outside of this one thing in his arrogance, it was really making an impact. And everyone was like 20%. I mean, he's a visionary as well. He's going to go further than everyone else and he's going to do everyone else. I like that. He's an arrogant little prick. But sometimes those people, you know who was also really arrogant that I read about? Abraham Lincoln. Now you all like him. I don't know if you can believe this, but I was really arrogant too. So what happens to arrogant people? We got to get knocked up a little bit. Our mouths got to write us checks, you know, that we can't cash. We got to feel stupid. We got to learn the hard way. But the positive thing is once we learn, the amount of humility that we always try to bring forth is just unmatched because we've been to the bottom. I truly feel with this kid, I truly feel that he's getting the spanking of his entire, I mean, this is multiple generations of spanking. Like he can tell his great grandkids about this fucking spanking. And I think there is a story that he can, and this, I'm talking about the humanity, right? Because at the end of the day, when there's a business, it's about the person at the top. At the end of the day, he's smart, capable, and a visionary, and he's willing to put the hard work in to create something, okay? I just see that. I don't see him. He has not bowed down and quietly went into the night because he could just be like, just like Titan. Titan was another stable coin that went up because they found flaws. They just went, oh, well, we'll try again, and I haven't heard from them. Like, they don't give me this energy. He gives me the energy, and it matters that he's going to do whatever he takes. Like he believes in this and he thinks it's necessary for, you know, not just for him, but for the cryptocurrency space. Like he truly is a believer. And I believe that. I see him, and we're going to go into some of the plans that they have on trying to make this right. I see him working overtime 24/7 trying to save this. I see him coming up with solutions that are okay and viable. I see him coming through this with the humility that would last lifetimes to not only use his smarts, but not use it in such a way where he's cynical, disrespectful. He listens. And that's the person you want at the top, someone who got spanked, but they're picking themselves back up and they've learned something. Now we'll have to wait and see if he learns anything. But I'm appreciating where they're going with this. So I bought Luna. And so, like I said, it went to like $8. Like I literally looked at, I have the Terra Station app, and I was like, "What?" It was like $8,000. It was like $140. like you know, 6 months ago, because I look at it like from time to time, because some of the things I just sit on. And I took about 2,000 and bought some miners. So I will be going into mining. So if any of you guys want to work with me on one-on-one with my crypto coaching, because I have packages for crypto coaching clients and just setting them up and asking them their questions and getting them started, mining is going to be also the thing I can help you with, because it can be a little challenging and intimidating to get these big ASICs. It's in my other room with my solar power in our system. I'm actually going to get solar power because not only do you get a rebate, 40 to 60% rebate if you get it installed, but then it can power my my mining farm, because I just want more passive income, and I think that's the way to go. And like I said, you get tax deductions for mining. So what was that? Yeah. So I bought it. I took some of the profits. The other 5,000, so I had some money here, had some here. Between the two, I took about $3,000 off of it, and I just, got the miners. The other 5, I'm like, well, let's this ride. And then it went to 0. So I only paid $140 because I get into things early for the most part. So generally my investments are anywhere from, $20, $50, maybe 100, maybe 500, maybe 1,000. Like Axie Infinity, probably my total will be about $1,000. It's at $21, per, but so that's just what it'll just be for me. And that will be over time. Sometimes I buy at once. It just depends on my funds. So, personally, I bought when it was low, when it was just starting out, and I could see that the technology was good. I've seen it grow to something that is sort of revolutionary and visionary, and I like it. I like that energy. Took a little bit of the profit. I didn't take all, but even though, of course, I want that extra money, I'm like, I could have bought some more miners with that, right? Some expensive miners too, because some of these miners are like $300, like $800, but some of these are like $18,000, right? Like an extra $5,000. I could have bought a $5,000 miner and be making $40 a day. I'm not joking. This is no cap, okay? So, so I'm looking at it, and of course I wanted it, but at the end of the day, right? Like, it blew up from nothing. I did take about 3K of it from like my initial $140 investment. When it fell to like 0.000053, I did buy more. I put like $20 into it and got like 500,000 Luna tokens. So then I put $20 more, but it had just went up in price. So I only got like 240,000 more for $20. So it was like $40 total. And I looked yesterday, that was $240. Now, you guys know I teach the crypto alchemy. So in part of the crypto alchemy, I teach you how to talk to your intuition. And I was like, hey, should I sell yet? They're like, no, write this out. So I'm going to write it out a little bit longer. When intuition, when spirit, because you can talk to your higher self, says, all right, it's time, I'll do it, right? But you actually, when you're speculating, you could ask, like, what's the highest probability? What's this? I want to make the most profit. So what should I do? You can actually ask for that information. It's just you learning how to do it. And I actually teach that in the Crypto Alchemy book, and I teach it in the course more hands-on. So I'm like, all right, so it's 6x by 40x return. Spirit's telling me can do it a little bit more. And so it's just interesting. So, there are more people at this moment who are buying because they're like, yeah, I spent $40, or yeah, I spent $100 and I have 2 million Luna tokens. So now we're in this group of people and we want it to win. We still believe in the technology. And this is going to sound crazy to you, but if this went up and Kwon made another coin, I would buy it. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to do this. And if he learned from this, which I'm thinking, like, how can you not? He's going to make another great product, because that kind of arrogance, but knowledge and willingness to do the hard work just doesn't come along every day, as well as being visionary and being able to see. I mean, because he just saw what other people couldn't see and he just went for it. If he made another coin, I would invest in that, because I'm investing at that moment in like the talent of the CEO, even if he is like a young kid. I honestly think if anything was going to grow him the F up, I think it was this. He just got spanked and spanked and spanked and spanked. So if one of those billionaires were behind it, they're laughing their asses off. Like, this is what this kid needed. And if he picks himself up and keeps going, he'll be a better person for it. So that's sort of my experience with Luna, why I purchased it in the first place, how much of the profit I was able to take, how it fell, how I still bought after the fall. Now I have 740,000 Luna tokens, but it might not be. Yeah, we're lunatics. Yeah. I have no problem with that. I really do like with the energy. I read energy too. I really like the energy of it. I think it's momentum. I think it's for me. And I buy it based off logic and the numbers. I do that. But I also, and this is a gift, to be able to incorporate energy behind it and how that feels is actually really, really good. And I think that's part of my success. That's why, like I said, I teach in this crypto alchemy. It's not just all logic and numbers. When you combine the energy and being able to read that, you'll really be more powerful and being able to get consistent hits, right? Oh, you are correct. You are correct. You are correct. You are absolutely correct. This can all go down the hill, because you got to remember evil's at play. But you also have a lot of people who are with them. So there's light and there's dark, right? So, does the light win? I think the light will win, but you are correct. When big money players are trying to bring you down because they just don't like you anymore, they really want to shut it down, So we don't know who the big players are. BlackRock said they didn't do it. Doesn't mean they didn't. It just said that's what they said to appease the masses. So you're correct. That can happen. And I will leave that up just so people understand that there's a lot at play. It's not just vision. It's like not having a ton of enemies too, right? That's where class and humility is a protection against antagonistic angst, right? Like you don't hate the person who's always humble and full of class. Like you might not like them, but you don't hate them. You hate the person who doesn't have it, Donald Trump. So actually, and I don't hate him either, actually. I'm just saying, like, he's a good example of like, when you don't have any class or humility, how people who would just be like whatever towards you can turn to hate. There's they're good learning lessons, like if you're going to write a cryptocurrency book on moral and ethics or like, just theology and philosophy, there's a lot to learn about like biblical references of how that comes into here and like just guiding principles of how you should relate to other people. It's just such an interesting case study. So let me finish this up with what their plans are. I'm a lunatic. I have no shit. Even though it's like worth nothing, I'm like, whatever. I made money. I took the 3K. I just 6x my $40. So I'm like, hey. Okay. So this is the plan. So they were doing a lot of community talks about what to do. And he said, look, I looked at everything. This is what we're thinking of doing. They are going to burn the remaining UST in the community pool, TFL, Terra, that's like the Terra Foundation, Terra Luna Foundation. Oh, maybe is that the TFL? I thought it was called something. I thought it was TFG. Okay, that was TFG. They'll burn their remaining 371 million UST cross chain on Ethereum. They just take 248. So it looks like this is the foundation to defend against governance attacks. They were going to take $1 billion. So they're going to burn that much in UST. And then there's people who are going back and forth like, hey, that doesn't sound right, which is fair. And hopefully they're going to be a lot less of a dick about it. The other one, the last one I heard was, so this is the Terra Luna. So this is the proposal for burning. The vote will go live shortly. I wonder if I can vote. I don't know if you need to be part of the foundation. They will report the remainder of UST deployed as liquidity incentives on Ethereum. So that means liquidity incentives. That means so the liquidity incentives was it was the money that was paid to things that were staked. And they're going to burn all that was there that was staking on Ethereum. They're burning the remainder of its UST holdings, see which ones makes the most sense. Approximately 1.3 billion will be eliminated. This should 11% of outstanding supply. They're in the war room. It's been nonstop. So they were going to think of like taking some of the money, the reserves, and giving it back to people so that if you were a Terra Luna holder before like the 4th, because like I'm in Terra Station. So they also had, too bad they didn't put, let me see if they have it down here. What does NFA stand for? Not financial advice. Okay, thanks. Forking does not give new fork any value. That's wishful thinking. CZ is spanking that. Whereas all the BTC that was supposed to be used in reserves. Okay. Woo! God. Biggest spanking of their lives. So there was also a proposal that there would be some of those reserves, and the reserves would be given to people. And so like 40% of reserves would go to people who are holding like 4 or 5 days ago before the fall. That would be someone like me with the Terra Station app. The Terra Station is their specific app where you stake. 40% would go towards like who was it? It was the 40% first people who had it before, 20% towards a community pool, and the community pool would be given to, help assist with different community actions, and like 40% given to like UST holders. And so there was going to be like this thing where like some people were incentivized. There was also talking about forking to a new coin. So they're still war rooming it. We have not come up with I sent my prayers for, divine request. Oh yeah, and then some money would be given to people like who bought after it crashed to like 0.0006. Well, now it's at 0.0005, right? Like it's climbing up because people are like dumping like $20 here, $100 here, 175 here, because it's just like safe moon. Like, oh wow, you could get so many for so little because of this price, but they know the technology works, right? Or until the UST, it actually, is completely stable and revolutionary. And they would get a little bit too. So that would be pushed out on the exchanges. So that was one of the things too, to sort of incentivize the holders to stay loyal. Honestly, I don't want to share myself too cheap, but we're going to stay loyal anyways until like it's over. Like, I mean, because, there's nothing else to do. Are we buying Luna? I spent $40 on Luna. So if it crashes, it crashes. It has not. Since I paid $40 2 days ago, I now have $244. Last time I checked, about an hour and a half ago. So it's 6x in 2 days, because everyone sort of now are buying at this low cost because they know it's a technology that actually works, that has money going into it, has reserves. So it's not like Safe Moon that everyone bought into. It was like, oh, $10 and I have like 100,000 coins. It actually was a viable product and option that's listed on the exchanges. So it's not a hard sell for someone to go, not financial advice, but it's not a hard sell for someone to go like, hey, if this thing can be saved because they have the underlying reserve and infrastructures, they still have $1 billion left of BTC that they can deploy. That's software engineering hours. That's incentive hours. That's a lot of money that you can do with to continue your project or fix any holes, right? So it's not like it has broken, but it's not a broken protocol. The protocol was actually just fine, very stable. And growing like crazy. Okay. So with that being said, if you're going to ape in, as it's called, when something crashes really low and you just ape in, if you have $20 or $40, that, if it crashes and all of these war room efforts don't make it, you can lose it. I would say absolutely. You may have at first I did $20, but then I was seeing everybody else was doing what I was doing. I was like, well, let me put 20 more. Now it's 240. I was like, should I take my money out? Spirit was like, nope. I teach you how to do that in crypto alchemy. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just check in tomorrow, see what I need to sell. But for right now, there are people aping in at these lower amounts who are new. So I'm looking at the comments. There's new holders who never had it before. But since all this happened, there are new people who are putting $20, $30, $40, $100 on it. That in itself can pump a coin and get it back up there, in addition to all their efforts. And so they're going to like have 1 billion Luna, and it's going to be equitably distributed. So they'll look at the blockchain and distribute it out. So that's what it was going to be. It was like 1 billion Luna only. So that, like, I don't know. It's still being discussed, but like all that would be decided between people who are previous holder UST and people on the exchange who bought after it fell, to incentivize them to stay loyal. It's very, very interesting. I'm in the middle of it. Like, listen, I actually like your product. You're a dick, but I actually like your product, and I'm actually going to stick with you regardless. But seeing all these people aping in at 20, 30, 40, 100, I'm like, oh, so it has its own momentum with new investors, not me who've been in for 18 months and saw it. So is that going to, I don't just say yes or no. I like always have to explain the pros and cons and then make your best decision. And I'll tell you what I did. That's how I coach. Like it's never yes or no. I'm always like, you have this in this situation, why not? Like, with all these other factors. $50 in Luna, $50 in Axie, $50 in Link. Yeah, I need to buy some. I'm going to buy some tomorrow. The thing is, for my 401k, I have to like literally like wire it in. So it's a little bit more work than just connected to my bank accounts, because the places with 401k accounts, I can't just wire in because of regulations. I have to do a wire transfer and pay like $15. So it takes me a little bit of time to like do it, but I'm going to buy like Axie's going to get bought. Like Axie's going to get bought on Monday when I send in my paperwork. That's why I want to buy it. It's viable. Absolutely. I mean, it's already proven. they do have $1 billion left. Now, could they theoretically take the billion and just leave? Like, I'm a billionaire. I don't think that's the energy. I don't think that's the energy at all. The energy is like, we're going to use this $1 billion to fix this and whatever it takes. That's the energy. So just be happy to me that they were always forward thinking. They had bought like billions of dollars of BTC to save it. They were selling the BTC, which caused that price drop, which now it's going back up to save the UST. They were always thinking it had a rainy day fund for this, and they're going to use the rest of the rainy day fund to fix it. I'm just not seeing crooks. I'm not seeing defeat. I'm not seeing, I see whatever it takes. That's what I'm seeing. You tell me what you see. Someone was right that like they do have enemies though, right? So when I say we don't need any Netflix drama, honestly, just every 3 months, just wait. Because this is the craziest thing I've ever seen play out in real life, in my life. Like, it's real crazy. But like, I want this arrogant little prick to win. Like, I am rooting for the underdog right now. Like, I want to see a win. Not just because I had it. It's just for some reason I just believe in this project. I really do. And a lot of us do. We just like that they were able to deliver when they did. And we like that they try to go further than anyone else, right? Like, and do a decentralized stable coin. And this is his second time. And like, he's gonna keep on, like, I'm okay with the keep on trying. Frederick said, I work at the software company. We literally push out a new release every night. Right. Oh, you're talking about how the updates, because you're like, oops. That's the software development cycle. And maybe it's because of my IT background, but I'm just like, this has happened, folks. So don't put in more you can lose, right? Can you lose the $50? I can lose $40, right? Like, I mean, honestly, I went to Five Guys and bought 2 burgers. It was $32.50. You got $40. If you eat out, you got $40. You can like not eat out once for. You honestly do. Customers find bugs and report them. Right. We fix them and push out another release. Yeah. And in the crypto world, it's real money. So a bug is very costly, but the thing is, the people like me, we know what we're getting into. That's why we don't put more than we can afford. Generally, if we put money in, it's like profit from something else that from 2 years ago we had, right? Or it's very minimal, modest amounts. And, you know, we DCA because $50 a month, it gives you a chance to see if you want to keep going. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I want to win for my Anchor protocol investment. Anchor's good too. I got to invest in Anchor. Did I do the research? So I have a list of all these coins. I have to do my research. So I have like a whole system I type about in here. So in which cryptocurrency should I buy? And I don't like to buy until I've done it. So Anchor's on the list of me to do my research just to make sure it hits all my key metrics. Yeah, so that is what's going on. Oh my goodness. Any comments and feedback before I go? I didn't think I'd be on this long, but this is so interesting. This is like, goodness gracious. There's so much, and it's not over. So when we get further ahead, I'll have to let you guys know if like my $40, which came 240, did we pump it to the moon? Did we not? Do I have 740,000 Luna tokens? Did they implement this plan? And it's just equitably replaced by this new, by what they're going to push out. Does this work? Do people keep buying and aping in so it pumps the price naturally to over $1? Will I become a millionaire? That'd be so awesome. Yeah. So any other questions or comments? Anything about that before I head on out? I hope you enjoyed the roller coaster ride into finding out more about this coin. If you have not invested in crypto, I don't want you to look at this and go, oh, well, I'm really not doing it now. Just understand this is going to be a part of our life where different stories and their relevance are going to be on the main news. It's going to be the forefront. It's going to be what people are talking about. And the sooner you get into the ecosystem, you know how to navigate it better now as you slowly take the time versus when you're forced to do it. But it's going to be more and more of the conversation. This is going to be more intriguing to the news people and to the anchors and whatnot who have to keep you engaged. It's going to be the cryptocurrency world that is going to take more and more of our time because it has such in and out. So the sooner we get used to and start understanding this, get involved in the world and even participating in it, I mean, just the sooner you just have ownership, a leader, a place of authority to even speak on it, or even experience with it. But this is sort of the new frontier. Can you guys tell me, do you see how it's the new frontier? Do you see it's the Netflix, the blockbuster? Do you see how it's taking over casual conversation? Let me know. I've already seen this. This is the future. I'm all in. I can see it, but I know other people did not. Tell me where you guys stand on that. And if you were someone who was already in, so you're sort of like me, we're experienced, so we're already in, or if you're new and you see that it's definitely starting to take over the mainstream. And with stories like this, it's going to be 24/7 crypto. Stay tuned to next week's episode to find out more. Honestly, I feel like that. It's serious. I literally felt like that though. I was like, oh, I gotta tell y'all, this is juicy. Oh, you are welcome, my friend. Welcome. Thanks for being awesome. Thank you. You're welcome too. Took a lot of work to get here, man. Told you, I used to be arrogant too. I got that beat out of me so many times that then I was like, I really need to watch what I say to people because I don't need all these fights. I finally learned my lesson. Oh, thank you. Are those the prayer hands? Oh, I appreciate that. Have a good one. I will. Link to your crypto book. Yeah, I'll put that in right now. I suggest starting with crypto. If you're new, I suggest starting with my Crypto Alchemy book. If you're not new and you're more experienced, which cryptocurrency you should buy, I would recommend that book. If you're already experienced, that's the book. No one's doing what I'm doing. Just like when I did real estate, no one's doing what I'm doing. I'm telling you, it's legit. And I sort of want to see more people do it so I hear more feedback. And I just need to hear like, yeah, this is legit. So yeah, I definitely see. Good. Hey, Tech. What's up? All right, good. Cool. Yeah, so link to the book below. Highly recommend. Next time I come on, I'm going to show you guys a little bit on my mining operation. I just want to get more of them set up. Mining is so interesting. It's a skill set. I'm an investor and I'm a low cost investor. So I apply that to the same thing I do with my mining. It's intense. Half the people if you try to buy it used, literally half are scammers. So you have to learn how to avoid scammers. You have to choose the right machine because a machine might mine $5 worth of crypto a day. However, it's $5 worth of electricity. Like, when do you make that bet? But it wasn't when it started. It is a year later, though, because the way that the miners work, and it's such an interesting world I'm getting involved in. And, I like to flex my mind. So it's just like real interesting seeing like all the ins and outs and the expertise you have to apply. You have to be really good in business. So when is it worth it to buy a $5 miner, but it's $5 in electricity cost? So your daily profit $0, right? Is there ever a good time for that? Well, it depends, right? Or do you buy an $18,000 miner, but at this moment for the next 12 months, it might mine, $60 a day, $100 a day, right? So you're making $3,000 a month off of $18,000. That's a really good return. However, it's not going to be forever because the way the machines work, they go really hard. And what it does is because they're hashing algorithms, and it's made that the more you hash and the more power you throw, it automatically gets more difficult. And so then so it slowly is less effective over time. And then depending on its power source. So you have to take power into what it's mining into. So electricity costs, what it's mining, how much do you buy it for? Because they want you to buy it for $2,000 new for $1 a day. Like, I'm not buying something for $2,000 to make $30 a day. At least I'm not, But there is a point in which you can get it low enough that it is worth it. But then is that guy a scammer? So I have these metrics I'm coming up with how to avoid. It's really, I'm just telling you, mining is so interesting. Now, I like it because when you're a real estate investor and a business owner, you know how to look at numbers and return and what price and what I'm getting and factoring things in like tax deductions, incentives and credits. I already told you that I've been meaning to get like solar power, but because you actually get 40, 50, I have to look it up, but I think it's like up to 50 or 40% as a rebate from the government for doing solar power. And I always wanted to do it, but then now doing a mining farm operation, I'm like, oh my gosh. So not only can I do it and get my money back for that, but for my mining operation, it always does that. So it's all these different things you take into account to like see what money you put in, but what money you get back. Some are plug and play, some aren't. I will, oh, good. I'm like, oh, how much did you pay for that? Yes, take those tax deductions. I like to say mining is the one way you can get tax deductions for getting crypto. Whereas when I just pay an exchange, you can't. Here, you pay electricity costs, which you deduct, but you get a crypto equivalent for that. So there is a point, depending on your lifestyle and your business income, where that's worth it. And for some people, you're at a high enough business income where if you can deduct the cost of you acquiring crypto, yeah, let me pay an extra $500 a month electricity if I get to deduct $3,500 a year. Absolutely. Right? It's a very interesting place to be. How much did you pay for your KDA, if you don't mind telling me? Because those miners are like literally $10,000 to $20,000. Did you pay some of those prices, Tech to get the KDA? Oh, so when you're in the mining world, you're like, dude, how much you get it for? Like that's because you have solar. Yeah, good. Tech, who are you? Do you have a name? Because I just see Tech. I don't like. Do I know you? Are you someone I know? Oh, 5K. Oh, awesome. What's your return each month? And I'm not just asking for me, but I'm just showing it for the people who are watching. So what's your return each month on that KDA machine? KDA is Cadena. And also the other good thing about miners is, and I'm going to talk about this on like my private channels, you actually get an insight into what's going to be the next big coin, because some of these miners, oh gosh, it's so interesting. What they're mining becomes outdated, and then they mine the next thing. They want to still keep using the miner, so they mine the next thing. And so you can tell when there's going to be an uptick in another particular product, because for those miners, they're all going to switch to that when this is no longer profitable or feasible. And then they try to sell them on eBay. Oh, you don't want to answer? Okay, you don't have to answer. Some people are funny with money, so they don't want to put it out there. But, it's just really good for my real estate investing audience to see like what kind of return. So all of them are different. So they're selling some 5K miners that make like $1 a day. I'm like, get out of here. But the Cadena miners, KD boxes, those make a lot of money if you can get them. I'm talking about $11, $12, $13, $14 a day. So yeah, isn't this interesting? It's an interesting world. Interesting. All right, I will talk to you guys later. I hope this was a fun little ride into cryptocurrency, and I hope I inspired you guys to get in touch with it. If you want, you can get in touch with me. I do one-on-one consultations for cryptocurrency. I am a crypto coach trying to get thousands more invested in it. Okay, hold on. Let me put my you can sign up for a free 15-minute consult if you want to just go over your crypto portfolio, find out more on that one. And if you want to, if you're thinking of getting rental properties, because both cryptocurrency and rental properties are going to be your best hedge right now against inflation. Because if you think $32 for 2 burgers is okay, like you need to have extra sources of income. Your job's not going to cut it. Like this is, you got to. I mean, if there was ever a point in which you really need to get your extra source of income, I mean, you can't, I don't want to hear you guys complaining for the next 20 years, because we're not going back. Multi-decade inflation. I told you my predictions. I'm not wrong. Like, I haven't been wrong. I'm not wrong on this. So if you guys want to talk about real estate investing, $10,000-$15,000 can have you cash flowing anywhere from $700 to $1,500 within the next 6 weeks. I do this with my clients. There's a ton of inventory left. So for now, get in touch with me if you're interested. I think that's it. Yeah. So thank you guys so much. Stay tuned for next week when we come back with what's happening with Terra Luna. All right. Bye, guys.